This week, we're in a very, very powerful passage, powerful text. Isaiah 66, verse 2, where God says, "But this is the one to whom I will look." And that needs to get our attention as we've learned this week. Who does God look at? Where does the God of gaze find itself? And who does it find himself to fall upon? Well, we've learned so far in this amazing verse, God looks to the humble. And then today we see this, "But this is the one to whom I look, who is humble and contrite in spirit." Now that phrase, contrite in spirit, it's a very, very important phrase. In fact, within the Hebrew, this adjective contrite is only used 3 times in the entire Old Testament. It means literally a crippled of feet. The root of this word also means he smote. So when you put those two things together, for God to look upon the one who is contrite in spirit means it's the person who knows they've been struck, they've been crippled by this strike, and now they know that they need help. Now think about that. The crippled person who knows they need help, God says, this is the person to whom I will look to. It just doesn't always seem to make sense to us, and yet it's exactly, again, the person that God chooses to work within. This is the person the Lord will fill and strengthen and use for his purposes and for his glory. You know, it's interesting in my travels as a believer in Jesus Christ, I hear people say from time to time, "Hey, Christianity, that's just a crutch. Christianity is a crutch for those who need that kind of thing." And I say, no. Christianity is not a crutch. It's way worse than that. Christianity is a wheelchair. In fact, it's the ICU, the intensive care unit. In fact, if you get your theology right, we are corpses in need of revival. I mean, that's the gospel. So you can say it's a crutch, man. It's far, far worse. The whole purpose is understanding that before the Lord of glory, we are broken in our sin. We cannot do this. Jesus says, apart from me, you can do nothing. In fact, the more we recognize our brokenness, the more we put ourselves in a place to be so used for God's glory and to see his fruit again shine through our lives. That's why the greatest turning point in the Apostle Peter's life was the moment he denied Jesus Christ. And Luke's gospel says at that moment, and the rooster crows, Jesus turns and looks at Peter, and Peter, who said, "I'll never deny you, I'll die for you." And then a servant girl approaches him, he denies him, he looks at Jesus, he goes out and weeps bitterly. That was the turning point of his life, because when Peter met Jesus again and he was restored to him on that shore, Jesus turns to him and Peter's devastated. And Jesus says, "Peter, do you love me?" 3 times. "Do you love me? Do you love me?" Isn't that something? It was the brokenness of Peter that allows him then to be used just a few chapters later at Pentecost, standing up and giving the first sermon of the early church where thousands came to faith in Jesus Christ. God's not looking for the proud. He's not looking at the arrogant. He's not looking at those who know they have everything or think they have everything. God is looking for the humble and the contrite in spirit. This could be one of the greatest turning points of your life right now. Are you in a place that right now you are broken? Perfect. Are you in a place right now you say, "I can't do this anymore"? Man, I'm with you then. I can't either. Without Jesus Christ, I'm dead. I need him every single day. So right now, your moment, brokenness is the perfect recipe for God to work in your life. 1-866-273-4444. We love to talk to those who know they are broken, to be used and transformed in their lives for Jesus Christ. All sincerity, God bless you today.